In this lesson, we're going to look at the intervals that occur between the first note of a major scale and the other notes of that scale. All of these intervals will either be called major, and we will indicate that it's major with a capital M, or perfect, and we will indicate that it's perfect with a capital P. There will be another lesson that will be called the difference between major and perfect, so that you will see the difference. If we start with a C, and we have a D, D is the second note of a C major scale. So the interval between C and D is a major second. If the bottom note is B flat, and the higher note of the interval is C, C is the second note of a B flat major scale, so that is a major second. If the bottom note is an A, and the higher note is a B, B is the second note of an A major scale, so that is a major second. If the higher note is the second note of the major scale, it's a major second. Let's keep the C, the B flat, and the A. If the interval is between C and E, E is the third note of a C major scale, so that interval is a major third. Between B flat and D, D is the third note of a B flat major scale, therefore that is a major third. Between A and C sharp is the third note of an A major scale, that is a major third. Major third is the third note of the major scale of the lower note. If the bottom note of an interval is C and the upper note is F, F is the fourth note of a C major scale, but it is not a major fourth, it is a perfect fourth. We will explain the difference in another lesson. If the bottom note is B flat and the upper note is E flat, that is also a perfect fourth. Or if the bottom note were A and the upper note is D, that's a perfect fourth because D is the fourth note of an A major scale. If the bottom note is C and the upper note is G, G is the fifth note of a C major scale, and that is a perfect fifth. If the bottom note were B flat and the upper note were F, F is the fifth note of a B flat major scale, that is a perfect fifth. If the bottom note was A and the upper note is E, E is the fifth note of an A major scale, that is a perfect fifth. If the bottom note is C and the upper note is an A, A is the sixth note of a C major scale. That is a major sixth. We're back to our majors. If the bottom note is B flat and the upper note is G, G is the sixth note of a B flat major scale. That is a major sixth. If the bottom note is A and the upper note is F sharp is the sixth note of an A major scale. Therefore, the interval between A and F sharp is a major sixth. If the bottom note were C and the upper note is B, B is the seventh note of a C major scale. Therefore, that interval is a major seventh. If the bottom note was B flat and the upper note is A is the seventh note of a B flat major scale, that is a major seventh. And if the bottom note is A and the higher note is G sharp is the seventh note of an A major scale, therefore the interval between A and G sharp is a major seventh. Finally, for this example, if the bottom note is C and the upper note is C, that is an octave, but is also known as a perfect eighth. yes, it is an octave. So therefore, obviously, between B flat and B flat would be an octave or a perfect eighth, or between A, or between any note and the next time that note appears would be a perfect eighth or an octave. These are major and perfect intervals.